Hi, I'm Mel,
I'm Toby.
and thank you so much for joining us. We're joined by Toby Donovan. He has probably blessed your screens these past few weeks as Isaac and Heartstopper. Before we get into more of the background that you have in acting, we're going to talk about what the people want to know. Heartstopper. So, what originally drew you to the project?
I think, well, I saw like a open call on Instagram, and obviously, like being an actor, lots of those things fly about, and I never really see things that I'm like, oh yeah, that could be me. And this one, I was like, wow, I could really do that. And then I like read the graphic novels, did a bit of research on Alice, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is the most incredible thing that exists. That is like amplifying queer stories now on a Netflix show to such a amazing level that I'm like, there was no way in my heart that I couldn't be a part of it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, obviously. And you mentioned the graphic novels. You your character wasn't really in the graphic novels. So, having that as a background, how did you sort of prepare to get into your role?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a real challenge to be honest. I was quite nervous because it was like I remember turning up to the first day of rehearsals on set, and then I was like looking around at all the rest of the cast, and I was like, oh my god, it's like they've jumped out of the book, and I was like, oh no, like where do I fit into this? So I and like obviously the fan base is so passionate that I didn't want to make something that didn't feel true to the Heartstopper world. I didn't want to be that like weird odd kid out. So yeah, there was a lot of pressure, but I did a lot of work with Alice, and we sort of came up with this new character who Isaac was, and yeah, I feel like he fits in. I hope he does.
He does. As someone who's read the graphic novels, I think Isaac just fits in perfectly with the friend group.
Oh, thank you.
So, book talk would be mad if I didn't talk about Isaac carrying a different book in basically every scene. Did you actually read them while filming?
Well, there was quite a lot of books, and lots of them were quite hard. And I have struggled with dyslexia for my whole life, so I never was really like books were never I never felt were accessible to me. But through doing this show, I've been reading a lot more. I'm reading this, which is the second book in the Shadow of Bone trilogy. But yeah, I was never really a reader before. So I, when we were on set, was only allowed to read 1/2 if I would turn the page in the scene pages of the book. So because of continuity, they didn't want it to look like I was at one point in the scene I was at the start of the book, and the other point I was like finished it, because that wouldn't make any sense. So I had to just read the same page over and over, which was frustrating because like some of them look like really great books, but yeah, I didn't read any of them apart from Radio Silence.
Are you planning on reading them?
Well, I've seen lots of people talking about is it called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder? I
Yeah.
think that was one of the books I read, and everyone on my Twitter is like, "Have you read this? Did you enjoy this book? Did you like it?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, do I need to read this? Like, maybe that's on my TBR." Yeah.
Nice. So I haven't read it either, so I can't speak, but I'm like people have been on TikTok calling it like the Isaac reading book challenge, whatever, where they want to read all the books that your character reads in the show. And maybe I'll hop on that if I have time.
Good luck. There's lots of them, and they're big books.
Yeah, yeah. No, you guys filmed the show back in 2021 during COVID. What was that whole process like?
It was really weird, but this was my first ever time on a film set, so it was like I don't really have anything to compare it to. Like I don't know what normal normal set life looked like, but yeah, it was weird, like being going to set and being around so many people and having people this close to me doing my makeup, and like that being normal, and then going home to my apartment and not being able to talk to anyone. I had to wear a mask when I left the house. I couldn't meet up with the rest of the cast unless it was like after the rules had eased in England. So like the first kind of month or two was like it was quite isolating in a weird way, because you would go from being with so many people to being just on your own, and it was like the contrast of that was a bit crazy. But yeah.
Yeah, and as you mentioned before, with the book having such a big like fan base already, were you nervous waiting for the release of the show because you didn't want to disappoint the fan base?
Yeah, massively. I mean, I think by the time like sort of trailers and teasers had started dropping, and the reaction to those had been so great, the pressure sort of eased a bit because it was like, okay, people have seen us in the roles, they know what this whole show is gonna be like, and they're happy with it. So that felt like a pressure had eased. But definitely before, when we couldn't share any content from the show, it was like, oh god, I hope everyone likes it. It's quite stressful.
Yeah, and I
Yeah, and
mean
I mean,
everybody's
everybody's
waiting for
waiting
your
for your
vlogs.
vlogs.
So, I'm
So
also
I'm also
very
very
excited for
excited for
them.
them.
But
But
without
without
giving too
giving
much
too
away
much
from
away
your
from your
vlogs, what
vlogs,
is
what
like your
is like your
favorite
favorite
memory from
memory from
set?
set?
Ooh, yeah. Well, the vlogs are coming. First of all, I'm working on them. It's been a thing, but yeah, I'm getting there. Hopefully, they'll be up soon. One of my favorite memories from set was, I mean, anytime like we were all together, the whole cast, all I think there's like 10 or 11 of us. Whenever we were all there, was so much fun because they'd say cut and we'd all just go and like stand somewhere else and be like naughty kids at school or like the kids at the back of the bus. Do you know what I mean? We would all just be turn into like teenagers again and mess about and yeah. So those were always my favorite memories.
I mean, most of the cast are like still teenagers, so I bet it was crazy on set. Were there like any like pranks happening or like other fun stuff?
Not too many pranks. Luckily, I don't think I could have coped very well with that. But yeah, lots of silly games, lots of yeah, just messing about really.
As you should. For like it was the first role for so many of you guys, so I bet just having the experience on set, having a cast that as I think turned into family from what I can tell, it's just really great to have. So, going more into like filming as well, what was your favorite scene to film?
Ooh, such a good question. I mean, I've kind of felt like a kid in a candy store the whole way through the shoot. I was like, it was just all of it was so exciting to me. Favorite memories was I really enjoyed the bowling alley. That was a lot of fun, and like realizing the sort of the weight of what we were doing, that they shut down this whole bowling alley for us to be there for like 3 days was crazy. Um, I also really enjoyed sports day because that was like again all of us being together and it was lovely weather and yeah, out we were outside like yeah, that both of those I think were probably my two favorite moments.
I love that. So, I don't know about you, but my For You page on TikTok is like exclusively Heartstopper right now. Did you expect this kind of reception from the Netflix audience?
Not at all. I mean, it's been absolutely crazy. I think I when we were making it, you know, we all felt like we had something special, but I thought with our release, it would be quite a niche show. Obviously, like queer people are at the front and center of our show, our story, and that like I don't know. I guess I imagined that more people would be turned off from that than would be drawn to it, just like due to the nature of the world that we live in. But yeah, I think it's been like really encouraging to see this community and this like family of people all get behind our show and push it for us. It's yeah, it's been amazing.
Since Heartstopper is such a show that like represents the LGBTQIA community, what do you hope people learn or what do you hope resonates with people who watch the show?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, I think people learn that we're not as different as you might think we are. I think my like friends and family or people that are like sort of distant friend of a friend that have spoken to me about the show have been like, look, I've realised that at school I was probably more of a Harry when I was a kid, and watching this show has made me feel like I need to learn more. Do you know what I mean? I think lots of especially older generations have come away from watching our show being like these I don't know nearly enough about this corner of the world and I need to teach myself. So yeah, I hope people learn that we're not as different as you might think we are. And I hope that queer people in particular take away that you are welcomed entirely as you are. You don't need to change anything. And yeah, I think it's just so powerful seeing stories that are like your own on TV. You know, I remember reading the scripts and like I think all gay teenagers can resonate with Nick googling "Am I gay?" Like I think we've all been there. So just like seeing stuff like that happen and feeling like you're not the only person in the whole world that's ever done that is a really cool thing that our show does.
Yeah, I'm like especially happy with like the bisexual representation because even in the community, bisexual people are like overlooked or made fun of for like not choosing sides. So I really love that we have Nick representing such a healthy, like finding his sexuality and being bisexual in such a like friendly and nice environment, and that is just one of my favorite parts of the show.
Because I think like especially like you say bisexual stories are so I don't know the word, I guess stigmatized, or I guess like made into like you need to fit in either box. But yeah, I think our show really nicely deals with that, and we see Nick like we see him as just a normal kid at school. Do you know what I mean? He's not, and Charlie like they're not the queer
Yeah.
kids at school. They're just the
Yeah.
kids at school.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, I already teased this. We're gonna jump into a game of Who Said It. So, just explaining it once more, I have 17 lines prepared. I'm gonna give you the line, and you have to tell me what character says it.
Okay, I'm gonna need lots of luck for this.
The first line is, "How dare you?"
That's Tao, right? I swear Tao says that as well. Is it Charlie when Nick's drawing on him?
Yeah. But honestly, I think Tao says it later in the show too.
I just had an image of Will in my head going, "How dare you!" Like really over dramatic, normal Tao. Yeah,
Okay, the next one is a trio of borderline outcasts.
that's Tao.
Yes.
I was there for that one.
Okay, the next one is where's your can do attitude?
Ooh, where's your can-do attitude? It's got to be like a rugby reference. So I'm maybe Nick. Yay!
I mean, you're doing great so far. And the next one is I want to believe in romance.
That's a tricky one. That is Isaac's number one line.
It's a great line. Okay, the next one is I don't think he's straight.
Tory,
Yes.
one of my favourites.
And the next one is the lads can see it's banter.
That is Cormac. That is Harry.
Yeah. Okay, the next one is a kind of hard one, and it's the line it's 'cause you're old.
Is that no? I feel like it's got to be in reference to like a teacher or a parent of some description. Oh, maybe not. Maybe. Is it? Is that Nick to his mum? Um. God, that's hard. I thought I knew the show.
It's especially tricky because it's not really a conversation, it's people yelling it to each other.
Oh, it's because you're old. Who's that? I don't. I can't work.
You want me to do the next line to help
Yeah,
you?
yeah. Do the next one.
The next line is pretty much like I'm only 18 months older than you.
Is it Charlie?
Yes.
Oh, God.
It's when they're running upstairs in episode 3.
Oh yes, yeah. Wow, that was a tricky one.
Let's do an easier one. I'm having a proper full-on gay crisis.
That is Nick.
Yes.
That's all over my TikTok.
Same. Okay, the next one is I'm a highly qualified hairstylist.
Imogen,
Yes.
in one of my absolute favourites moments in the whole show, after she's messed up his hair and she does this really cute little giggle, I'm like, oh my god,
I love her so much. She's so
breaks my
cute.
heart.
Okay, the next one is another tricky one. It's Harry, don't let the game go soft.
That is Sebastian Croft as Ben Hope. Basically, there's a funny story behind this. So, like all of the rugby boys would play FIFA like in between takes when we were waiting, and then like some of us would go up and be like not really have a clue what was going on with the FIFA, and so like when Bash had to like shout encouragement to the game, he was like, What do I say?" And like Cormac would just always say, "Oh, the game's gone soft. Don't let the game go soft, guys. The game's going soft." So Bash like stole that, and it made us all laugh so much when he said it. And then it got in the show, and we were like, "Yes, thank God."
I was rewatching the show to like pick out the lines, and I watched it with like the captions on. And I didn't pick that line up until I rewatched it for that, and I was like, "Ooh, that's a fun one."
It's
And
so
I'm glad
seamless,
I
isn't
got it.
it?
Yeah,
It feels like that's something Ben would really say, but
100%. Okay, the next line, which is easy because I've seen your TikTok, making us watch Avengers or something.
oh. Wait. So I don't know if it's L or Tao who says it. No, it's Tao. It's Tao.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh God. I've
I
got.
got so upset at that line.
Me too.
I love Marvel so much.
Yeah, same. Such a big Marvel fan.
What's your favorite Marvel movie?
Well, I think I'd have to say there's so many, but I think I'd have to say Captain America 2, The Winter Soldier. I think that's just like one of the best made movies ever. But I also loved Infinity War and Endgame for obvious reasons.
So much, so emotional, so
Yeah,
emotional.
so just like this in the cinema the whole time.
Yeah, same. Okay, the next line, which is one of my favorites, you shouldn't go out with someone because you feel sorry for them.
Is that the legend that is Olivia Colman playing Nick's mum? Yeah, very
It's the
good.
icon. Okay, the next one is I'm a very muscular individual.
Tao at the bowling alley. So
Yes.
funny. Yeah.
Okay. Then we found another one.
Ooh. Is that Darcy about Nick? Okay, yeah.
Okay. Another line that I have for you is what about Harry Styles? He's pretty sexy.
That is Harry. And then
And it's
he's
the only true thing he says.
only true thing he says. And when he says, "Oh, you're gay. Does that mean you like musicals?" I was like, "Wow, read me, literally read me for Phil."
Okay, the next one is you're not allowed to say the S word.
The S word being sorry. So I think that's a Nick line. Yeah, I'm
If
quite good at
someone
this
said that to
actually.
me, if someone said that to me, ugh. Okay, and the last one, which is probably my favorite line from the show, is don't let anyone make you disappear.
Oh, such a lovely line. Is that Mr. Ajayi to Charlie? Yeah,
Yeah.
Fizio is just perfect in that part. He's so good.
So if there for season when there's a, I'm not gonna say if
Yeah,
when
let's
there's a season
manifest it.
two.
Let's manifest season
Um,
two.
when there's a season two, I as someone who's read the graphic novels, so if anyone who's watching this hasn't read them, skip. Um, Otherwise it's spoilers. But I really want like the teacher relationship to happen.
Me too.
Ugh,
I'm praying
so
that it
good.
happens. I think it'll be so cute.
I know, right? To what inspired you to begin acting in the first place?
Yeah, I mean, it's always what I've loved to do. It's always been the number one thing that if my mum was like, right, Will, you can do one after school club this time. What do you want to do? I'd be like, drama club. Please, can I do drama club? Uh, just yeah, it's always been like my number one thing. It was the thing that I was good at in school. It was the thing that I got the best grades in, and it just always made my heart like, when you're just doing something you love and it just fills you with joy. That's always how I felt when I was on the stage as a kid. And yeah, growing up, it's a difficult industry. It's a tough one to get into, and people always tell you to have a backup plan in case it doesn't work, or to, make it's a great thing to do maybe on the sides, but then maybe you should get a real job. And like, I always felt that if I was good at something, I should do it. So I sort of tried to always not listen to people telling me to have a backup plan and say, look, I'm going to put everything into plan A, and if it goes wrong, then I'll make a plan B. And luckily, that seemed to work for me, and here I am. So yeah, I think in terms of what inspired me, just like I don't know, I grew up in the theatre, so that kind of environment of putting on a play and being that energy that you get when you come off stage with people around you is like, I guess that is a sort of inspiration, that craving and chasing that feeling of adrenaline, I guess, is yeah, what pushed me to do it.
Yeah, I totally get that. I'm the same with photography. So, both creative fields. No, and it's basically in like society, like creative fields are always like, do you really want to do that? Don't you want a real job? It is a real job, and and it's fun.
Yeah.
And you gotta have fun while doing
I
work.
think there must just be people who are so bored in their jobs and jealous of like working in an office somewhere when I could be prancing about on a stage. So
So speaking of theater, what is like your favorite like play that you have been a part of?
favorite play that I've been in was a musical called Spring Awakening that I did while I was training at Bath Theatre Academy, and it was just the most incredible experience. It's a beautiful, beautiful show, and the music is so lovely that I really enjoyed singing it. Yeah.
Okay, and then the other side, what is your favorite like musical theater play that you have not been part of, but you want to be part of?
Right, right. This is such a difficult question. Um, I think, and this is quite controversial. I've spoken to some of my friends about this, and they did not agree. But I think one of my favorite musicals ever is a show called Waitress, which was recently in the West End and on tour around the UK. And it's this story of a waitress who's stuck in an abusive relationship, and her two best friends that work at this diner, like her friends help her get out of this and birth a child and also birth a new life with that child. And I watched it with my mum in New York, and it was just like there was so many moments when she would just squeeze my arm about this mum like singing to her unborn baby, and it was just a really special memory that yeah, I think that's has to be one of my favorite shows. And also obviously Les Mis is like unbeatable, unmatched, like
A classic.
art. Yeah, those are my two faves. What about
And the
you?
music. So my current favorite that I blast in the car is Six.
Yes,
I love Six. I really want to see it.
you have to see it.
Gotta
You
go
have to
to
see
the
it.
UK
Yeah.
at some point. And probably, which is some people make fun of me for it, but I love Grease so much.
Of course, it's a classic.
It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. Okay. More about acting. What is like your favorite thing about acting and creating like the character arc and all of that?
I think it's like I think this is probably a bit cliche, and a lot of actors say this, but like getting to leave your own psyche, your own headspace, and inhabit someone else, and to like rather than walking about the world thinking what you might find nerve wracking, you step into someone else's position and think, oh yeah, no, I wouldn't be scared in that situation, but if I was doing this, I'd be really nervous. So like, yeah, I think it's that feeling of getting to be someone else and getting to leave yourself behind for a couple of hours that I as an actor chase, getting to like just do something completely different and like fun. Yeah.
I mean, it's always fun to dive into someone like someone else or some other like personality. That's why I think so many actors love playing villains because it's so different from their own personality.
Yeah, I think that'd be so much like a like proper cartoon comic book villain, like ridiculous evilness would just be so. I think that must just be so much fun.
On that, if you could switch bodies with someone for an entire day, like Freaky Friday, who would you switch with and why?
Anyone in the world?
Yes.
Gosh. Um, I think Beyonce. I think I'd really like to get on stage with a microphone and do some incredible dance moves. And like Beyonce must have that feeling where she walks in a room and everyone goes quiet and looks at her. And I think I couldn't live like that at all. But a day would be so much fun. I would take advantage of it all. Can you bring me a coffee, please? Yeah, I would take the mick, honestly.
I mean, you gotta.
Right?
Otherwise, it would be unused time
Yeah,
and power.
exactly.
Okay. From that, we're just gonna join into more like fun, random questions for the viewers to get to know you as a person
Cool.
better. So, you already mentioned that you've read the Heartstopper graphic novels. Out of the four existing, what is your favorite?
Three. For sure. I just because you've had the first two to get to know these characters, to fall in love with them, and then it's like they go on a school trip and that's the most fun thing ever. Do you know what I mean? It's like when your favorite TV show or like for me it's like when Modern Family do an episode where they all go on holiday or they all go to Disneyland. It's like the most fun ever. That's how I felt reading number three.
So, season two.
I know, right?
Let's go to Paris.
I think I'm more excited than anyone in the whole fandom to go to Paris.
I mean, it's Paris. Filming in
Yeah.
Paris must be so fun.
Wow, fingers crossed.
Okay. Um, Putting Heartstopper and your history in musical theater together. We know some of the cast do have musical talents, like Kit being in Rocket Man and singing. I know Corinna can sing, and Will has his own band. How would you feel about a musical episode of Heartstopper sometime in the future?
I mean, in my head, it would be the most incredible thing ever. Like, all of us, the whole cast can sing. Like, all of us are good singers. Ria is a fantastic singer. Joe's a great singer. Like, so many of us have musical talent, but realistically, in the world of Heartstopper, I don't know that it would make sense. But it, like, headcanon, I would love that so much.
It will be so fun, like a little special.
Yeah.
Doesn't even have to be in the storyline, just a little, like,
Or
for
like
Christmas even.
if we could do like a school play like that, we could then weave in some singing and dancing. Yeah.
If your hometown was a food, what food would it be?
Ooh. Well, so my hometown is very like um Jane Austen-y, very like Victorian, I think is the right time, England. So there's like lots of beautiful architecture and like small town vibes. So I think it would be like some kind of afternoon tea type thing, like little sandwiches, little cakes, and a very English cup of tea. Yeah.
I love that. Very, very classic.
Yeah, very Bridgerton.
I mean, Bridgerton is great, and everybody currently wants to live in the Bridgerton universe.
I
So,
know. Yeah.
okay. The next question is, what is the best advice you have ever received?
The best advice I've ever received is, I mean, it's corny, but I think, we all have the people in our lives that give us that nice thing that Mr. Ajayi gives Charlie, where he says, you can't care what anyone else thinks of you. You've just got to live your life the way you want to live it. And, I've been fortunate enough to have lots of lovely friends and family members give me that advice. And yeah, I think that's probably the most crucial thing is like, be, be who you are. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you can't be anyone
Okay.
else. you know what I mean? They're all
There's
taken
only
just for
one of
you.
you.
Yeah.
There's only one of you. Okay, going back to book talk, you already showed that you are currently reading the second book, was it, of the Shadow and Bone saga?
It's called Siege and Storm. Yeah, the second Shadow and Bone book.
What would you say are like your top three books you've read so far?
Um, when I was a kid, I read The Hobbit before the films came out because I was so excited for the films to come out, and that was, I remember just being like, that was one of seeing those movies and also reading that book was what made me sort of want to tell stories and be transported to these crazy worlds. So The Hobbit is one of my favorite books I've ever read. Um, Matilda by Roald Dahl is one of the best books I think potentially ever written. That yeah, it goes like, for some people, the Bible, Matilda. So The Hobbit, Matilda, and recent books I've read that are my favourites. Um, I've got two. So I'm going to do four. Sorry. I
That's
read
okay.
a book, if you are interested in being an actor, called Hamilton and Me by an actor called Giles Terrera, who was in the West End company of Hamilton. He played Aaron Burr. And it's the most incredible diary of an actor, like from finding out he got the part through to like winning the Olivier for it. And it's like, it was so inspiring to hear him talk about his craft so openly. Um, and that made me really inspired to be an actor. So that's one of them. And I also read a book called Felix Ever After. I think it's called Felix Ever After, which is about a trans boy in New York and navigating like art school and what it means to be trans in Brooklyn and relationships. And it was so affirming and so beautiful.
I love that. Book talk will be very happy with this.
Yes, those are my book talk
I think.
recommendations.
We'll put it on TikTok for the people to know. Okay, we're at Girl Stuff have a playlist where we basically ask the guest if you had to pick a song to play every single time you enter a room, what song would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. So part of my brain goes to something like really dramatic that would make everyone stare at the door and be like, "Who's that?" Um, and part of my brain is like, if I needed anything to sum me up, it's got to be Harry Styles. So I think I'd go for Canyon Moon by Harry Styles and get the doors open and everyone's in like a happy vibe. It's a very happy summery song. So yeah, I think I'd do that.
I love that. I love Canyon Moon. It's
Such a
it's
good song.
underrated too.
Yeah,
So,
really underrated.
so great. Speaking of Harry Styles, what is like your like top favorite artist that you can listen to on repeat and never get tired of?
Well, Harry Styles, definitely. I can also listen to Ben Platt. Like both of his albums are just go-to shower songs. Like getting shouted at by my parents for singing too loud in the shower is always Ben Platt. Um, and also like hearing a queer artist sing about falling in love with a man is so like magical. So that Ben Platt is will always be one of my favorites for that.
I love that. I'm with you on both.
Great.
Harry and Ben Platt, 100%.
Can't go wrong.
I mean, yeah. And a question I have to ask you, because it's a British cliche, do you know your Hogwarts house?
I do know my Hogwarts house, and I'm rapping it today actually without knowing. I did the test and I'm a Ravenclaw, and I feel like I'm quite a true Ravenclaw because I'm not like warm enough to be a Hufflepuff, and I'm not brave enough to be a Gryffindor, and I'm not like sneaky enough to be a Slytherin. So I feel like therefore I'm a Ravenclaw.
I can see that. I can see that 100%. And I love that you're wearing blue today.
I know. I didn't realize until you asked me my house, but very funny.
Okay, I just have a few questions left and then we will be done.
Perfect.
So, my next one is if you didn't have the career you have, what would you be up to right now?
I think it would definitely be something creative still. um, because that's like where my heart lies. So I guess if I wasn't acting, I'd probably be like singing somewhere in a bar somewhere, or I'd be like working behind the scenes at a theatre, or giving out programs in the audience, being a front of house, or like anything to be around art. Do you know what I mean? Like that is that's what makes my heart sing, like we were saying earlier. So if I couldn't be on the stage, I'd want to be the one that was helping people do their quick change, or pulling a rope to make something fly. Like I'd have to be in that world somewhere.
Yeah, I totally get you. When I talked to my parents about like what jobs I could see in the future doing, I was like, I it needs to be something creative. I can't do anything else. Like I physically cannot do
Yeah.
anything else.
No, me too. Yeah, I really relate to that.
Which fictional character would you love to meet in real life?
Um, I would love to meet in real life. Maybe like the genie from Aladdin, or someone that could like, do you know what I mean? Like if we were assuming that all of these crazy fictional things are real, I'd want to meet someone that was really like powerful in a fictional world. So maybe like genie from Aladdin, some kind of super Scarlet Witch who could just like snap me into a reality that's just perfect, or yeah, just someone with like crazy power that could make my life really interesting for a little while. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Okay, the last question is, which we always end interviews on this note because it's the most fun thing. Do you have a useless talent, and if so, what is it?
A useless talent. Oh, um, do I have a useless talent? I'm really good at coming up with like rubbish games. I'm good at passing, like, if we're on a long journey somewhere and everyone's like bored of their phones, there's no good music left, I will like come up with a stupid game that will get everyone laughing. And yeah, that's my useless talent.
I love that. I think it's very useful though.
No,
Like
yeah, true.
if
It
you're
is quite
bored,
useful. But then
but
also, if unless you're really bored, it's not a useful talent, because I'll be coming up with games and you're like, Toby, I'm doing something else. Like, let me just do my thing.
I mean, yeah, I think it's still very fun.
Thanks.
Okay, but with that, we're wrapped up with the interview. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having
I hope
me.
I hope everyone that watched this has seen Heartstopper. If not, click off, go
Go
to
and watch
Netflix to watch
it.
it
Go and
now.
stream it all on Netflix now.
We want a season two.
Yes,
Go stream it.
please.
And that's girl stuff.